Okay, so I'm recording now. This is just on the virtual reality page. So just as a quick reminder, if you're on the home page for the class, just go to virtual reality and then scroll all the way down so you get to building a Godot app, which is not actually what we're going to be doing, but I'll talk about what that actually looks like a little bit at the end. But what we are going to be doing is using GitHub to combine all of our scenes into one project that we can install on each of the headsets, so you can play the scenes without being stuck to your computer with the USB cable. So that's kind of the main goal here. Let's pause for just a second. Any luck? Oh, what? Yeah. For this computer, I wouldn't. We have some laptops. What do you need the computer for? Okay. Yeah. Let me. Sorry. Okay. So part of the reason we're doing it this way, so when you're building an app, you have to have like a specific type of account, which is a developer account. You have to have a credit card registered to do that. There's like all these steps that you have to go through. It's like too much to cover in class. So I'm going to talk about how you would do that in case you do at some point want to make your own app and build it for your own device. So I'll go over that at the end. But for now, I'm just going to go over our basic steps. All right. Sorry about the technical issues. So when we first got forked the VR template, we talked about how to set it up so that we keep the link to the original project. And so if you didn't set it up that way, it's fine. We can reset it up and it'll be fine. But the reason we did that is so that we can push your project back to the original GitHub repo. So I'm going to show what it would look like in Godot first and then go to GitHub. So in Godot, if you're working on your project, you'll have the VR template project open. And in the scenes folder, you might like duplicate level 1 and add your stuff in there and create whatever you want. And in order for our files not to conflict with each other, what we're going to do is just make a folder that has your project in it so that we can all put it in the same repo and link to it. And then what I'll do is I'm just going to add in this menu here for everybody's project, I'll just add another little link that you can click on from the scene. And then as long as you have a menu somewhere in your scene to go back to the main project, that'll work. If there's not a good place for it, we can always like quit and come back. So you don't necessarily need that, but that menu is set up and it should work in any scene as long as you have the path right. So anyway, if you have the level, let's imagine, I've already done this, but I'm just going to do it again. Let's imagine I want to make my own level. So I'm going to duplicate level 1. I'm going to make level 2 and click duplicate. So here in level 2, I'm going to do some stuff. Maybe I'll make a new tree and move this tree over here. And I'll make another one and put it over here. I'll just make some changes. Oh, I don't know how they got all the way up there. But I'll just make a few changes to the scene. And when I'm ready, what I want to make sure to do, this level right now is inside the main scenes folder. I just want to make a subfolder with my name on it or some identifier and put the level in there. So I'm going to go to scenes and make a new folder and call this Owen's scene. And I'm going to drag level 2 into Owen's scene. The other thing is if you have other files, like if you made some of your own materials, if you made some of your own textures, things like that, you may want to make sure that those aren't conflicting. You guys might have textures with the same name and stuff like that. if you move them inside the program, they'll work fine. So for example, I have like a little tree material here. I don't think I actually used it in this scene, but let's say I apply it to this tree over here. So I'm going to click on this mesh and go to material. Or actually, I'll just save the default material that's in here. So if I go to this material and say, okay, I want to use this on some other trees, so I need to save it, I'll click on this drop down and go to save. And then I want to save it inside this folder. So usually I organize things into other folders, and you can do that in here. You can make a materials folder and then save this as tree material or whatever you want to call it. And so now inside my own scene folder, I have my level and I have my materials. And if you move stuff around in Godot, it'll rebuild the links for you. So you can move stuff and it'll work fine. If you do make any mistakes and there are conflicts, I'm going to show you guys that it's actually quite easy to see that. So you don't have to worry too much. We're going to be able to review any conflicts that might come up through the GitHub process. Okay, so once you're all done and you've done everything that you want to change in your scene, you've tested it in the headset, and you've got everything ready to go and you're ready to publish it. When you go to GitHub, so I'm going to go down here and I'm going to open up GitHub. I'm going to go to the GitHub desktop. And so what's going to happen is when you make changes, GitHub sees those changes. So each one of these files either is going to be orange or yellowish if it sees that you've modified it. It's going to be green if it's a completely new file. So you can see some of these new files here, like Owen Scene level 2.tscn, that's my new level. Owen Scene materials / tree material, that's the material that I just created. These ground textures that I added in the previous demo, these are all new files. So the green means they're new files, the orange means they're modified files, or if they're red, that means they got deleted. You probably won't have any deleted files, but you might. So these are all the changes that GitHub is aware, or Git is aware that you've made to the project. And you don't have to use all of these changes. I can turn them on or off using these toggles. So most likely, you'll just want to use the scenes that you added. You don't want to update the project.godot. If you made changes in there, we don't want to put that into the original project. So we just want to use the ones that are here. If you add the other ones, that's okay. We'll still be able to review it, but we mainly just want to add the stuff that you created. So once you've got the stuff that you've created, you have to write a summary. So your summary can be very simple. It should just describe what we're doing with this commit. So we're just going to say adds Owens level 2. And then you're going to click this commit to trunk, this blue button down here. And so it ignored all the stuff that I didn't check. So we don't have to worry about that stuff. So then this push origin button has a little 1 here. I just click on that and it's going to add it to my repo on the GitHub website. So I just have to click that. And now I'm going to leave GitHub. I'm actually going to go, or I'm going to leave the app. I'm going to go to the website. So once I push my changes are now online. And I can go to repository, click view on GitHub. And so one thing that's a little tricky, I'm not sure, depending on how you have your link set up, this actually went to the original repo in my account, which is not where we want to be. So since you forked this project, it may think that that's the origin. It may take you to your page when you click this view on GitHub. It just kind of depends on how the links are set up. Actually, let me check the repository settings. Well, so no, the remote is set correctly. I don't really know why it does that, but that's what it does. So when you go to GitHub, you want to double check. My name should not be here. Your username should be here. So if you see, my username, you should just go to your repositories and find your copy of the VR scene template. So it should be your name here. MEA test is my test version of what your repo will be. So to say MEA test here, and you'll know if you're in the right place because you'll see this contribute button. And that's the button that we want. If you're on my page, you won't be able to log in as me, so it won't even matter. You won't be able to contribute anyway. So if you don't see the contribute button here, you need to make sure you're in your repo. Okay, so we're back in the MEA test. I'm going to ignore this error. So this contribute button is how you're going to add your scene to the main project. And this is called a pull request. This is what programmers do like all day. We write a little bit of code to add to the code base. We make a pull request so that other developers can review our code, make sure it works before it gets added to the live code base. Okay, so this says the branch is 2 commits ahead of ONBMCC trunk because I've done a test demo of this. And so that's okay. I'm going to click contribute and I'm going to click open pull request. And this is basically just saying I'm requesting the original project to take my data, my level, and put it into the original. So I click open pull request and I can like write whatever I want here. Usually this is like where you say like, I'm adding this amazing feature that all of our users have been asking for or whatever. You're explaining what the code is. You can just write like, you know, this is my level to add to the project. I know what it is, so we don't really need a lot of context here. GitHub is just going to do its own review where it's going to look through our code to make sure that, you know, it looks right or whatever. And if it is, it's going to say able to merge. So that's going to be the first review is GitHub does its own automatic review. If it says able to merge, you're good to go. If it says something else, there's probably a conflict. And so let me know, we can look at it together. Then you just click create pull request and you're done. That's it. This is the end. I'll show you what's going to happen on my end, but once you get to this point, you're all done. I'm going to open up another window to show you guys what this looks like when I'm logged in as me. Okay, so now I'm logged in as me. I'm going to find my VR scene template. And under this section, pull requests, I'm going to see any pull requests that have been made to the repo. So I'll see your request. I'm going to look at it. It's going to show me the files. So I'm going to look at commits and I'm going to say, okay, what is this adds Owen scene commit? What is this nonsense? Okay, this looks fine. This looks good. I'll take a look at the path. If there's something that looks like it's not going to work, I'll let you know. But most likely, I'll just say this looks good. And so then when I click this merge pull request button and then confirm the merge, now the original repo has in its scene folder, Owen scene, there's level 2. And so now I can download this on my copy of the project. I can go in and add a link to your scene, and then I can build the new project. I can put it on all the headsets, and we can all test it. So we'll all be happy. So that's it. That's all you have to do. I'll show you a little bit about what I'm going to do after this. So this is just all those instructions that I just went over. So once I get everybody's scenes, I'm going to build an APK file, which is a basic Android file, and I'm going to install it on the devices. So then it'll be an app like, you know, all the other apps on the devices that you can just open without having to be connected to the computer. The way to do that is a little bit confusing and time consuming, but Godot has a good documentation on how to do this on exporting for Android. There's a whole bunch of different stuff that you have to do here. Some of it is not that hard. Some of it is kind of confusing. Like you have to create a key store. You have to use the command line. You have to do all this different stuff. And you create an APK file, which is like the default Android file. So you can see in my test project for this here in my builds folder. I have this APK file, and then it has this file with the signature for authentication. And then I can basically just install this on the device. If the device connected to Wi-Fi, I'd be able to show you guys what that looks like, but we're still working on that. But essentially, what I would do is once I make the APK, there's some instructions here from MEA about how to install the app onto the device using this ADB connection. So I'll show this later, but it's not that important. You guys aren't going to have to do this unless you want to try it. Okay, so I'm going to stop recording now.